You're sitting across from someone you care about. They say, "I'm fine," but something in your gut tells you they're not. Maybe it's the way they look down just a little too quickly, or how their smile didn't quite reach their eyes, or maybe the pause before they answered was just a second too long. You felt it, but you couldn't prove it. What if I told you that feeling wasn't just your imagination? What if that was your brain already reading them, and it was right? Today, we're talking about how to actually understand what people are thinking and feeling, not through magic, not through manipulation, but through psychology. And by the end of this video, you'll never look at a conversation the same way again. Here's the thing nobody tells you growing up. We spend years learning how to talk, but almost no time learning how to listen. Not really listen. Not the kind of listening that goes beyond words. And that gap, that's where so much pain lives. Think about the last time you had a fight with someone you love, and halfway through you realized you were arguing about the dishes, but it was never really about the dishes. It was about feeling unappreciated, unheard, invisible. Or think about that coworker who nodded through your entire presentation and then shot it down in front of your boss. You felt something was off, but you couldn't name it. Or the friend who keeps saying they're doing great, posting happy pictures, laughing at dinner, but you have this quiet, nagging feeling that something is deeply wrong. Miscommunication isn't just inconvenient. It causes real emotional damage. Relationships end. Opportunities vanish. People feel profoundly alone, even when they're surrounded by others. Here's why this is so hard. Human beings are wired to hide. We've been taught from childhood. Don't cry in public. Be polite. Don't make things awkward. So we bury what we feel and perform what we think others want to see. But here's the beautiful contradiction we can't fully hide. The body always leaks the truth. And psychology has been studying that leak for decades. Let's get into the science, because this is where it gets genuinely fascinating. First, facial expressions. In the 1960s, psychologist Paul Ekman discovered something remarkable. He studied cultures from New York to Papua New Guinea, places with zero shared cultural overlap, and found that 6 core emotions are expressed the same way across all of humanity: happiness, sadness, fear, anger, disgust, surprise. These expressions are hardwired into us. They're not learned. They're biological, which means when someone feels something strongly, their face tells the truth before their brain can edit it. And then there are micro-expressions. These are rapid, involuntary flashes of emotion that last less than 1/5 of a second. A flicker of contempt before someone says, "I support you." A micro-flash of fear before someone says, "I'm not worried." Most people miss them entirely. But once you know to look, you start to catch them. Second, body language. Here's a principle from social psychologist Amy Cuddy and others. The body shapes the mind, and the mind shapes the body. They're in constant conversation. When someone is uncomfortable, they'll often create physical distance. Pulling their chair back slightly, crossing their arms, angling their feet toward the exit. And that last one is key. Feet are one of the least consciously controlled parts of the body. If someone's feet are pointed away from you during a conversation, part of them already wants to leave. When someone is genuinely interested, they lean in, their body opens up. Uncrossed arms, torso facing you, eye contact that feels warm rather than drilling. Third, tone and speech patterns. UCLA research has suggested that a significant portion of emotional communication happens through how we say things, pitch, pace, rhythm, rather than what we actually say. When someone is anxious, their speech often speeds up. When they're sad or defeated, it slows down and flattens. When someone is holding back anger, you'll often hear a controlled, overly calm voice, like they're choosing every single word very carefully. And pauses? Pauses are loaded. A pause before "I love you" and a pause after "Do you trust me?" carry completely different emotional weights. Fourth, behavioral patterns. This one is underrated. Individual moments can be misleading. Patterns tell the truth. If a usually chatty friend goes quiet, not just once but consistently over 2 weeks, that pattern means something. If a partner who used to initiate affection stops reaching for your hand, that shift is data. People reveal themselves through changes in behavior more than through behavior itself. The baseline matters enormously. You need to know what someone looks like on a normal, relaxed day to recognize when they're not okay. Okay, so how do you actually apply this? Tip number 1, establish a baseline first. Before you try to read someone, study them when things are neutral. How do they normally sound when they're relaxed? How do they hold their body on a calm Tuesday morning? That's your reference point. Every deviation from that baseline is worth paying attention to. Tip number 2, watch the clusters, not the single cues. One crossed arm means nothing. Crossed arms plus a tight jaw plus feet pointed away plus shorter answers than usual? That's a cluster, and clusters are where truth lives. Don't diagnose someone's inner world from a single signal. Look for the pattern. Tip number 3, listen to what's not being said. This is huge. Avoidance is communication. If you ask someone how they're feeling about a situation and they answer a completely different question, that's information. If someone changes the subject every time a topic comes up, that's information. The things people skip over often matter more than what they choose to address. Tip number 4, ask open-ended questions and then go quiet. Instead of, "Are you okay?" which invites a one-word, "Yes." Try, "You seem like something's on your mind. What's going on?" And then, wait. Let the silence breathe. Most people are deeply uncomfortable with silence and will fill it. And what fills it is usually closer to the truth. Tip number 5, mirror with empathy, not interrogation. If you notice something, reflect it gently. "I noticed you've seemed quieter than usual this week. I just wanted to check in." This opens a door without forcing anyone through it. It signals safety. And safety is what makes people actually open up. Remember, the goal here is never manipulation. The goal is connection. You're not reading people to gain power over them. You're doing it so you can show up for them in a way they actually need, even when they don't have the words to ask for it. Let me paint 3 quick pictures for you. Story 1. Your friend shows up to dinner. She's laughing. She's ordering her favorite food. She's asking about your week. But you notice, she keeps tucking her hair behind her ear repeatedly. Her answers are slightly shorter than usual. And she hasn't mentioned her boyfriend once, when normally she can't stop talking about him. You lean over and say quietly, "Hey, you don't have to be okay right now if you're not." And she exhales like she'd been holding her breath for hours. That's what this looks like in real life. Story 2. You're in a meeting. You've just pitched a new idea. Your manager nods and says, "Interesting. We'll discuss." But you caught it. A split second of pressed lips and a slight tilt of the head. And later, alone, their response comes back with 3 suggested revisions that essentially restart the idea from scratch. You weren't surprised, because you'd already seen it in their face. Knowing that, you went in prepared, less defensive, more open. The conversation went better than it would have. Story 3. Your partner comes home quiet. Dinner is a little tense. You ask if something's wrong. "Nothing. I'm just tired." But their movements are slightly sharper than usual. The cabinet closes a little firmer. The phone is checked a few too many times. Instead of getting defensive or pressing harder, you do something different. You just sit next to them and say, "I'm here when you're ready." 30 minutes later, they talk. Not because you pushed, because you made it safe. That's the real power of reading people. It's not about being clever. It's about being present. So let's bring it home. Reading people isn't a superpower reserved for detectives or therapists. It's a skill, built on observation, empathy, and a genuine desire to understand the humans around you. Start by establishing baselines. Watch for clusters of signals, not single cues. Listen to what people avoid saying. Ask open questions. Create safety. And always lead with connection, not control. The people in your life are sending signals constantly. They're hoping, maybe even without realizing it, that someone will notice. You can be that person. Now I want to hear from you. Has there ever been a moment where you knew something was wrong? Even before anyone said a word? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. If this video made you think differently about the people in your life, hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel grow. And if you want more psychology content that actually applies to your everyday life, subscribe. New video coming soon. I'll see you there. Take care of yourself and the people around you.